This content is personal experience, not medical advice. Please consult a qualified healthcare professional. Guest views are their own.
Hello, good people. Welcome to the Texas Food Festival, everyone. So my name is Shane Sterling. I'm Raw Vegan Rising on social media, YouTube, Instagram. I've been fully raw vegan for 7 years, going on 8 years. And I didn't start there. I started by going plant-based vegan for the animals first when I was just 17 years old. Yeah, 17 back in 1990. I went vegan for the animals. And what I've learned over 34 years of eating plant-based is that our body thrives on raw living foods. So if we focus on eating cooked starches and cooked foods, we're gonna end up probably quitting veganism and going back to eating animals, which is really the premise, the root of what drives my work and what I do. So I have a pretty big following on social media, but that's not really my focus. My focus is to have impact and reach and to share the message of how healing and empowering raw foods are for our body and our mind and our soul. Eating raw vegan is an evolutionary paradigm shift away from survival mode, away from survival food. Yeah, at one point we needed to eat cooked food to survive, we needed to eat meat and animal products to survive, but no longer is that the case. We're living in a world where we have access to the highest level of nutritional technology and the technology of our spiritual evolution. And that's raw food. Raw food helps our mind and our body and our soul align, gives us clarity of mind. When we cleanse and purify our body, it helps us see ourselves more clearly so we can see what our next steps are more clearly. Impact, reach, helping others to thrive at the highest level. So we can kind of move the needle one step further on the scale of evolution. That's what we're doing. The world is, somewhat, I would say, in a desperate position, So why not use our life force while we're here to help that evolution, to share that message? I'm raw vegan to help the evolution, not because I like raw food. Raw food is a technology, it's a tool that I use to help me be the best version of myself. That's the only reason I eat raw vegan. Because if I eat cooked food, it lowers my vibration, it numbs me out, it's like taking a sedative. It's not my highest vibration, it's not the highest potential that I can bring in my life here. So I wanted to do a presentation today, not how to go raw vegan, but rather the mistakes people make in thinking about raw vegan and the mistakes people make when going raw vegan. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Now, I've been a raw vegan coach for many years. I have over 5,000 people in my group coaching program, Raw Vegan Heroes, which is astounding. It's the biggest and best raw vegan coaching program in the world. And we have an incredible community. It's absolutely astounding, the community that's happening in Raw Vegan Heroes. It's really a community of truth seekers and health nuts and modern mystics and light workers and empaths and healers from all over the world, self-healers, focused on healing themselves and supporting each other on the journey of self-healing. So it's an inspiring place to be, and as a member of Raw Vegan Heroes, you're lifted in that community because we can't transform alone. In this world, there's a lot of force to keep us in the status quo, to keep us in the crab bucket. We need accountability to change, and that's what I offer in the Raw Vegan Heroes community. So with 5,000 members, it's just a thriving, incredibly loving, amazing place, and I work diligently every day to support members. People say to me every day on social media, in my group, in my coaching work, Shane, I would love to go raw vegan, I just don't know where to start because it's a little overwhelming. So I made a free video course called How to Go Raw Vegan, Start Here. It is the exact first step. So I recommend pull out a pen and paper if you have it. Write down my website, rawveganrising.com. Okay? On the homepage, you can sign up for my video course. This is an incredibly life-changing video course. It's the real deal. It's how we really go raw vegan. From cleansing our body, supporting our gut for transitioning to raw foods, but also the mental, emotional, and spiritual transition and transformation that we need to go on to be raw vegan. This video course will help you thrive in your life at the highest level. It's called How to Go Raw Vegan, Start Here. It's everything you need to know and exactly what to do next to be raw vegan and thrive. on my homepage, rawveganrising.com. So, I'm going to do a little presentation. The 10 mistakes people make when going raw vegan. And I think this will be helpful because everybody talks about what to do, what to eat, but nobody talks about what we should be aware of as the pitfalls and where we're going to go wrong. I'm more committed to helping thousands and thousands and thousands of people actually be raw vegan. So for me, it's about helping people overcome their limitations and their fears. So let me go through these 10 mistakes that people make when going raw vegan. Number one, let me get a sip of water. How's everybody today? Good. Awesome. Yeah. All right, let's go through these ideas, guys. This is really important stuff. 10 mistakes when going raw vegan. Number one, you don't clean your bowels properly because eating raw cooked food for a lifetime, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, there's waste impacted in the bowels. Cooked food does not move through the digestive system fast. It moves slow. It slows the bowels down. And then we have plaque and biofilm and fecal matter that accumulates in our bowels. And then we try to go raw vegan, guess what? Fruit ferments in the gut, causes gas, causes bloating, causes digestive discomfort. It doesn't work. We have to cleanse the gut. So cleansing the gut is an absolutely imperative first step to support the transit time of fruit. Fruit is amazing, but it's going to move through the digestive system very quickly. So by cleansing the bowels, doing a juice fast, cleansing, eating raw foods, doing whatever it takes to get all the fecal matter of biofilm out of your GI tract is imperative, and it's definitely one of the biggest mistakes people make because you can't just start eating raw vegan. Even 1% of cooked food in the diet will keep your body from detoxing. And if you think that a cooked vegan diet is healthy, well, it's only one level. It's better than cooked animal products, you know, but yeah, 100% raw vegan diet allows the body to go through a detox process, and the bowels will empty, the bowels will clean. But as long as you're eating cooked food, that's not going to happen. Number two, you don't need enough. Most people are used to this concentrated, calorie-dense cooked food. It's dehydrated, it's baked, it's cooked, and it's really dense. The fiber's denatured. So when you eat raw food, it's filled with fiber and water, so people don't understand you have to eat enough. You know, tracking your calories and understanding how much to eat can really help you be raw vegan successfully. So if you're not aware of how many calories you need for your body, you have to learn that because you're probably not going to be raw vegan successfully if you don't understand the energy needs of your body. So understanding how much calories to eat is really, really great, and you need that water and that fiber, undenatured, whole, as it comes for optimal health. Okay, number three mistake people make, they restrict fats. Everybody thinks a raw vegan diet is a fruitarian diet. Fruitarian is fine for healing, but a macro balance is necessary for optimal health for the human biology. We have to understand that there's three macronutrients: proteins, carbs, and fats. We need all three for our biology to thrive. So restricting is a way to failure. Don't restrict protein, don't restrict fats, eat in abundance. One of the amazing things of eating raw vegan is that it's an abundance lifestyle. You get to eat as much food as you want, really. It's total abundance. So the restriction energy of fruitarian, like 80-10-10, you know, Doug Graham's book, 80-10-10, gets a lot of people in trouble. Now, I've been a raw vegan coach for many years. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of clients. And I see the mistakes people make. And restricting fats is one of them. 80-10-10 is great for healing chronic degenerative illness. If you've got kidney failure, if you've got diabetes, if you've got cancer, low fat can be helpful temporarily. But if you're going to thrive at the highest level, you need high nutritional intake. Nutrition, through a macro balance, helps your body be healthy more than low fat. Low fat is not the answer. In fact, we need omega-3s. I've been vegan for 34 years, so you need high omega-3s in your diet if you're going to be vegan. We don't get omega-3s as easily as raw vegans, and if we're going to eat raw, we have to really, really focus on omega-3 rich sources of fats. Okay, number 4 mistake, You think you have to eat vegetables. Everybody thinks you have to eat greens, kale, and all of these vegetables that have to be cooked, when you don't have to eat anything that has to be cooked. Anything that has to be cooked, like cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, doesn't need to be eaten. You can have it in small amounts if you want. I cook broccoli on my salad, but you don't have to focus on the vegetables. The vegetables are not the foundation. The foundation of thriving as a raw vegan is fruit. Fruit provides the carbohydrate source for our body to help our body thrive at the highest level. It's the carbohydrates are really the foundation of the energy for our body. It provides all of the building blocks for the tissues, building muscle mass. Carbohydrates are essential, and that's in fruit. So vegetables are not the path. And when I first went raw vegan back in the year 2000 was the first time I attempted to go raw vegan. I went into the grocery store and I bought a bunch of kale, and I went out into my car and I just ate the kale, thinking that I was in a dry farm kale, right? So when I learned that fruit was the foundation of a raw vegan diet, that was a paradigm shift that allowed me to thrive as a raw vegan ever since. I've never gone back. Raw vegan coming up on 8 years, I'll never go back to food because I just understand the power of fruit as the foundation of my diet. Okay, number 5 mistake people make is they misunderstand their digestion. You eat raw food, you get gas, you say, oh, I can't digest raw food, I must not be designed for raw food. That's for somebody else's body type, that's for somebody else's blood type. If you misunderstand your digestion and the anatomy and the biology of your body, then you might think that cooked foods are optimal because you were raised on cooked foods. You've been eating cooked foods for decades of your life. To transition to a raw vegan diet takes time and dedication in building the strength of your digestive system and the microbiome. It takes so much work and effort. It took me 3 years to transition to a raw vegan diet successfully. And during that time, I had to go through a dark night of the soul. Fear, questioning, doubt, that my digestive system wasn't up to the task, that it wasn't doing it properly, terrible digestion for years, but I pushed through. I knew that a raw vegan diet was correct for the human biology, based on my intuition, based on science, based on my years eating vegan. I knew raw vegan was the path, but it took me 3 years to adapt my gut and my digestion to be fully raw vegan. And boy, it's the best thing I've ever done in my life. It's absolutely transformative to eat 100% raw vegan. Absolutely transformative. I often say to my clients, 80% or more living foods is the goal. 100% though has emotional, mental, and spiritual benefits that you cannot get any other way on planet Earth. 100% raw vegan is an exceptional lifestyle. Maybe you don't do it forever, maybe you do it for a month or 2 or a couple of years, but you owe it to yourself to experience what 100% raw vegan feels like, because it'll set the bar and you'll never go back to not having that bar. You might go back to cooked food, but you'll always remember the high bar of the human experience, and that's incredible to have that. Okay, number 6 on my list, mistakes people make. You think you need to water fast. People think they need to water fast when they need to get healthy. I don't know where this comes from. Water fasting does not get you to the raw vegan result. Water fasting does not cleanse the bowels. Water fasting is great for autophagy and recycling proteins and damaged cells in the body, but it's not the path to become raw vegan. It's not the path to heal the bowels, transition the bowels to a high fiber diet, to a high water, fiber, fruit-based raw vegan diet. Water fasting is not what you need. Juice fasting is an incredible tool to cleanse the bowels efficiently. If you juice fast for 40 days, drink nothing but fresh juices, you'll probably eliminate 25, 30 pounds of waste out of your GI tract. Everybody has 12 to 15 meals worth of old fecal matter in their bowels. Water fasting does not get that out. Juice fasting does though. So if you want to try a raw vegan diet, if you're struggling with health problems, if you have inflammation, if you have autoimmune or thyroid problems or some issue that's plaguing your life, water fasting is not what you want. Number 7 mistake people make, they don't juice fast properly. So I've been a juice fast coach for many years, and I've seen the healing, transformative power of juice fasting. It's absolutely astounding. People are skeptical about juice fasting. We hear, you should drink juices, you shouldn't drink juices, all this stuff. Well, in my line of work, all I can say is try it and see what happens to your life. I recommend a 40-day juice fast, drinking nothing but fresh, homemade juices made in your juicer, right on the spot. Drink them fresh while they're still filled with the volatile minerals and enzymes and oxygen and hormones that evaporate within minutes of making the juice. Make the juice fresh and drink it right there on the spot for 40 days. I recommend 6 to 8 quarts per day, 6 to 8 32-ounce ounce jars or liters per day. That's absolutely life-changing to do that. And I've seen thousands and thousands of people's lives change. The first time I did a juice fast in my life, I had a spiritual epiphany come over me, a clarity of mind that showed me the destiny and the future of my life. And that was that I was to be a raw vegan coach. I was to help people understand the power of raw living foods. And doing a juice fast, spending 40 days with nothing but hydration and minerals and enzymes and nutrition flooding through my body and my cells completely transformed my life. And it showed me the power of the juices, the fresh hydration and enzymes and minerals to transform our body and our mind and our soul and to align us with who we're supposed to be and the destiny we have on this planet, to be of service. So I got into service. I dedicated my life to service right then and there on that spot. 40 days juices shifted me from someone who was self-focused to other-focused. It was a miraculous paradigm shift in my life. And 40 days on juices and fasting in general is a spiritual experience. But with juices, you get calories, you get hydration, you get nutrition. You can go longer, and it's amazing for that purpose. So juice fasting is a critical thing to understand and really the first step to be a successful raw vegan, and I stand by that 1,000,000% based on years of working with thousands and thousands of people. Okay, number 8 mistake people make, you let fear stop you. Fear. We live in a fear-based world. A fear stops us our whole lives. So what's gonna help us step out of the fear of not fitting in, not being able to go to family gatherings, not being able to go to lunch with our friends or have a glass of wine with our girlfriends, whatever it is, fear is gonna stop us. But yeah, it might be lonely at the top, but that's what you were born for. We were born to change the world, to be a leader, and to bring our perspective and our gifts to the world. That's what we're born for. So are we gonna let fear stop us? Eat a raw vegan diet for a couple of years. That's gonna shift you out of that. Shift you to that, from self-focus to other focus. It just does that. Every raw vegan I know is committed to wanting to help the world be a better place, shift the consciousness on this planet. So fear is a part of life, but the people who are successful in life make friends with fear. They stand next to fear. They don't beat fear. They don't overcome fear. I have fear just like everybody else, but I've made friends with fear. I live with fear. Fear is my friend, it's my ally, it's my challenger. Fear is not something to stop me, but something to rather acknowledge and to live with and to understand. Fear is a part of life, and every successful person on this planet has mastered their relationship with fear, not beaten fear. Okay, number 8. Number 9. Okay, number 9. You listen to inexperienced people. People have the best intentions, of course, but on a raw vegan path, there's a lot of people who are on trying it for a couple months or a couple years, and maybe they have a different perspective or early stage perspective that isn't gonna help you with where you're at. So listening to people with the experience really can make a difference. So I haven't been raw vegan the longest. I've been raw vegan about 8 years, coming up on 8 years, but I have worked with thousands of people, with over 5,000 people in my group coaching program, Raw Vegan Heroes. I'm probably the most experienced raw vegan coach in the world. And that isn't because I tried to accomplish that, it's because I'm committed to helping people every single day. And having the right experienced coach by your side, having a mentor to guide you through the step you're at, is how we go from where we are to where we want to be. If you want to be an exceptional leader, you need mentorship to get there. You need to work with somebody who's further along on the path than you, and you just do what they do, take their guidance. That'll get you to where you need to go as soon as possible, as quickly and easily and as efficiently as possible. Mentorship is the key. If there's one thing I've learned in my life, mentorship is really all any of us need. We actually don't need food, we don't need education, we don't need to have like some sort of qualification, we don't need somebody to validate us, we don't need degrees, we don't need certifications. We need mentorship. If you want to become a millionaire, if you want to change the world, if you want to have the impact reach, if you want to build a company, whatever it is mentorship that gets you there. So follow in the footsteps of experienced, qualified, amazing people that will help you achieve your goals and be raw vegan. Okay, last one on my list, 10 mistakes when going raw vegan. You don't have the support and accountability you need, because we live in a crazy world where everybody wants to uphold the insane illusion of meat eating and the survival strategies of the past. And maybe we needed to eat meat at one point, maybe we needed to eat cooked food at one point, but we have a new opportunity to shift, a paradigm shift, an evolutionary shift away from that. And we need accountability to do that, because this world is going to pull you back down into the bucket. Have you heard the crab bucket analogy? Who knows the crab bucket analogy? Yeah. There's a fisherman on the pier and he's got a bucket of crabs, and a guy's walking by and sees the bucket of crabs and he says, well, you got to put a lid on that bucket of crabs or they're all going to climb out. And the fisherman says, I don't need to put a lid on that bucket of crabs, because if one crab tries to climb out, all the other crabs reach up and pull him back down in. So there's an insane inertia to overcome, to stand up against the mainstream, to go against the crowd, to be self-referencing, to march to the beat of your own drum. It takes incredible, willpower? No, it doesn't take willpower. It takes accountability. It takes community. It takes connection. It takes being around other like-minded people who are on the path, because we are the sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with. If the 5 people you spend the most time with are struggling with their health and love meat and alcohol and love to play that game in life, then that's what you're going to have. So we need to invest intentionally in our accountability. This is precisely why I started my group coaching program, Raw Vegan Heroes, 5 years ago, when I was at the step in my journey where I needed real accountability to be successful. And today it's grown to many, many thousands of people. It's pretty incredible. So that's how I offer support to people who are ready. A new crab bucket, a new paradigm, and it's an incredible community of truth seekers from around the world. So if you guys, any of you want that level of accountability, you can join Raw Vegan Heroes. It's very inexpensive. It comes out to like $7.49 a month to be a member. There's no cost to entry, because it's my life's work to help people at all stages of their life. So everyone can afford to get the support that they truly need. So Raw Vegan Heroes is a global community, and you guys should all be part of it. So that's the 10 things that I find are the biggest mistakes people make. And by understanding those, you can see the path to become raw vegan successfully. People often say, show me what you eat in a day. What I eat in a day isn't relevant to what you might eat in a day or what you might need to eat in a day at the step you're at. What's most important is that we have the vision for our life to shift the paradigm to a higher vibrational way of living, to heal ourselves and to become a force of good and light in this world, to make positive change. And I think that eating cooked food is a treacherous path. I think it's a dark path. I think it numbs us out from our potential. And I think it really keeps us stuck in a pattern locked into our old vibrations and trauma patterns. And so if you want to shift from trauma patterns that you've been carrying around your entire life in your subconscious, not able to get past, if you can't achieve the success you want, or have the relationship you want, or have the money you want, whatever it is you're looking for in your life, you need to shift out of the trauma patterns that run your life from behind the scenes in the subconscious mind. And there's no better way to do that than to step into a leadership path like raw vegan. It clears the cobwebs from your mind, empowers your cells, hydrates your body on an incredible level. The enzymes in raw foods bring electrons into the mitochondria of the cell. It literally is like a power plant for your cells. And when your cells have more energy, it's not just energy for your body to run around with your kids, it's energy for your higher cognitive function, for intuition, for spiritual insight, psychic abilities, clairaudience, clairvoyance, perception beyond the norm. That's what a raw vegan diet can do. And you have to be 100% raw vegan to get that extra sensory perception. 1% cooked food in the diet will keep you right where you are. You might get healthier, but 1% will keep you right where you are. So it's okay, we're on the earth. I eat cooked food sometimes, but I've been raw vegan for many, many years. So you owe it to yourself for that incredible 100% journey. Give it all you got. Do a stretch. Do 1 year, do 2 years. Get the accountability. Be intentional about the accountability that you get, and you cannot fail. You need the leadership, you need the mindset support, you need the knowledge, you need the wisdom, you need some action plans to follow, you need the guidance of the community. So that's my message, everybody. I hope that's helpful. Thank you. Anybody, maybe we should do a little Q&A. Yes.
So I've been juice fasting for over 100 days.
Awesome.
And
yeah, bro. Fantastic.
Yeah,
I'll give it a
so I can support everything that Shane said. My question is, do we need to, as I'm transitioning from juice, do I need to be concerned about the microbiome? Or will it naturally replenish? Or do we need to do fancy microbiome testing?
There's an absolutely incredible opportunity after doing a juice fast. When you cleanse your bowels with a juice fast, you've diminished the microbiome, the musculature's gotten weak. There's an absolute incredible opportunity to rebuild and reset the gut microbiome with raw foods. You owe it to yourself to do at least 1 year raw vegan after a juice fast of that length of time. You've already been raw vegan for this length of time. How many days? 100? Yeah, so over 100 days raw vegan. Give yourself that full year, 1 revolution around the sun to reestablish the microbiome on a 100% raw vegan diet. So that's the magic formula. That's what I talk about with all of my clients in all of my coaching work, is to tell people the importance of breaking the fast with raw foods. It'll shift your microbiome permanently forever for the rest of your life in a positive way, in a way that you can't get any other way. And people always make the mistake of thinking that you have to break it with, or they want to break it with cooked food or bone broth or something like that. God forbid you put animal DNA in your cleansed out bowels like that. There's a unique opportunity to uplift your spirit and your mind and your body at that particular time. It's miraculous to do that. Yeah. Yes?
Do you take creatine or something like that?
Yeah, I think creatine's all right. Yeah, creatine is like it's good for the mind. So I do take creatine, and creatine is not available in a vegan diet. So it's one of those, our body produces it, just for everybody to know clearly. Our body makes creatine. But a boost of creatine, it can be helpful. It increases cognitive function. So there's times when we can take supplements, not because we're nutritionally deficient, but because the supplement can enhance our experience. And creatine is one of those examples where I believe it can enhance the human experience, not because we're deficient in creatine.
What do you mean then when you say 100% raw vegan? There's certain things that aren't raw. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, well, supplements and condiments, I don't think fall into that category. We have to have the majority of our calories as calories. So when I say 100% raw vegan, I'm talking about 100% of your calories coming from raw living foods. So, and this is why I say for most people, 80% or more living foods is absolutely adequate for the average person. But if you want to step up out of average and have an exceptional life-changing, paradigm-shifting experience, you go 100% of your calories from raw food for as long as you can. Yeah. Yes?
What are your favorite sources of omega-3?
Top sources of omega-3s, flax seeds. are, number one, I have those every day. Hemp seeds, really high in omega-3s and high in protein, have those every day. Chia seeds, probably my number one favorite, chia seeds. Chia seeds are a powerhouse, packed with protein, packed with omega-3s, healthy fats for our joints and our bone, our bones and ligaments and tendons and connective tissue in our brain. So I think that focusing on our fats from omega-3 sources is the game changer, and that's exactly what I do. As a raw vegan of many years, I don't just eat fats. I work specifically focused to get omega-3s. And as a vegan of many years, also we need to focus on the omega-3s. So I love chia, flax, and hemp seeds. Those are the primary. And also walnuts has a higher ratio of omega-3. Also sunflower seeds and almonds, they kind of shift more toward the omega-6s. But those ones that I just mentioned right there, those 6 are what I focus on. My macro split, and I talk about this a lot in my YouTube videos, is 65% carbohydrates from fruits primarily, 20% of my calories from fats, 15% of my calories from proteins. That allows me to have good muscle mass as a man. I lift weights because my goal is to be a strong, masculine leader, a provider, a protector, and be an actual man in the world. Eating raw vegan doesn't make us weak, it makes us exceptional. And so we have to be intentional about how we are leaders in the world. And if we're a man, because I am, that means having good physical mass to protect and to provide and to be a leader and to stand up against the forces that want to keep men weak and emasculated and unmasculine. And there's a lot of forces on the earth right now. So that's why we need specifically to focus on our macronutrient profile to achieve the goals we want in our raw vegan diet and lifestyle. And being masculine is one of my specific goals. Yes.
What do you say to people that are almost as passionate about meat as a source of all the things you mentioned? Yeah. Raw liver. I have a lot of friends who, I talk with LSC and tell me, you're probably very much, probably complicating that, but I see them that way too.
Yeah.
How do you respond to that? And in the process of that, how do you keep cordial? And also educate?
It's not of interest to me to try to convince anybody of anything. I'm not interested in convincing people. So if someone's on a path of eating meat and they're convinced that that's right for them, that's fine. Everyone's at their stage. But, however, we're in a dark world. We're in a world that's ruled by dark forces that want to keep us enslaved and entrapped in the trappings of the pleasure trap. And meat and animal products are highly stimulant foods. They're stimulating, so they keep us trapped and give us a false sense of security and a false sense of power. It's actually, that's the illusion. And so the highest level of power is to find our power on a plant-based diet, to find our strength and our leadership and our empowerment eating raw alkaline foods. The alkalinity is the life force where all life springs from. There's 2 sides to chemistry in the entire world, in the entire universe. 2 sides to chemistry, alkaline and acid. Meat and animal products is acid forming by nature, even raw liver, raw meat, acid forming. If you're putting acid forming, acid ash residue foods into your body, you are on the acid side, which is death, destruction, decay, and degeneration of living organisms. Alkalinity is what we see when we walk into the forest, into the jungle with the water and the trees and the birds and the sunlight and the clouds and the breeze. That's alkaline environment. So you can't get that from animal products. So for people who think they're doing their body a favor by eating animal products, they are creating acid ash residue. And at some point that acid ash residue in the body will catch up to them. And they will have to detox their body on alkalinity, alkaline raw living foods, or they will continue down the degenerative acidosis path, and then they will end up with arthritis and autoimmune issues that start to tick in by the time we're 40, 50, 60, and we can see it in the skin. We can see the lack of cleanliness in the bowels, in the skin, in the eyes. Hair starts to thin, things like that. You know, I'm 52 years old, so for me at this stage of my life, been, you know, alkaline plant-based for 34 years, I guess. No, I do not. Absolutely not. No. Yeah. People think I do. People think I do Botox and fillers and surgery. Every single day on my social media, people tell me a nice nose job or something like that. And it's the microbiome connection between the gut and the mouth. You know, so it's bacteria in the mouth, bacteria in the gut. That connection extends beyond the gut and the mouth. It's the mind and the spirit. That connection of the microbes and the microbes we invite into our body, and who we are on a microbial level is who we are on a spiritual level. And that's why if we eat meat, we're trapped in a survival mode of the past that doesn't support our evolutionary steps to become the spiritually aware beings that we're designed to be. Meat holds us in place. Raw alkaline foods expand us. Yes, Laura. Hi.
I think another reason that people often don't succeed is they underestimate either how hard it is physically or emotionally. I think
Yes.
we see a lot of young, beautiful influencers online and they think, oh, it's just going to be a party. But it can be like you said, like a transition in the process. So what suggestions do you have to people regarding that, specifically like when I would draw, it brings up all of your stuff, like anything emotional that you
Yes.
haven't been addressing in the past.
Yes.
What suggestions do you have?
Okay, so when we eat cooked food, it is like taking a sedative. It's kind of like sedates us. It keeps us in our status quo, our comfy zone. And when we eat raw vegan, it pushes the boundaries. We hit the edges of our box. Well, that's uncomfortable because a raw vegan diet, there's no place to hide. The first thing you're going to experience if you do go 100% raw is that you'll notice your emotions. You might start crying at the drop of a hat. You might get, you might have an extra sense of, pain, trauma, thoughts of the past. I work with clients who, on juice fasting or their initial detoxification and alkalinity journey, they'll have memories from childhood, like when they were eating cooked food with their parents or their mom, and their mom passed away, and all of a sudden they'll be having memories of the loss of their parents and the foods they were eating coming up as you cleanse the toxins out of your body. These foods are like lodged in our body for decades. Cooked foods might never leave your body. You might have particles of cooked food that are still in your bowels that's there for 30 years. So when we start to detox, you're gonna feel all your emotions, you're gonna feel your fears, and then you're gonna say, oh wait, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to clear my trauma patterns. I didn't sign up to stand up to the things that have been holding me back my whole life. Actually, I'd rather go back to a cooked food diet and be small and play it safe and fit in. So to stand up means that we're standing out, and then that means that we're a target. We're a target for criticism, we're a target for negative energy coming our way, and that scares us. But really, it's lonely at the top. It's okay to be at the top. It's okay for us to stand up for what we are born for, and it doesn't matter what other people think. I do social media, so I get hate every single day. I get death threats every single day. I just talk about eating raw vegan, and I get death threats, like literally. I get middle finger emojis every single day on my social media. And that's because people are afraid to stand up and be seen, to stand up against the status quo. And that is emotionally challenging to stand up against the status quo. But what I do is I connect with myself. I'm self-referencing. I know who I am. I march to the beat of my own drum, so I can speak my truth. And all we have to do is speak our perspective. Our unique perspective is a stamp that God placed on our hearts. We've had it our whole lives. We don't need education or qualification or validation. It's inside of us right now. And if we speak from that truth within ourselves, we're doing the highest level of service we can do on planet Earth. That's it. Share our perspective. That's what we were designed and born to do. So when I do that on social media and I share my truth, I know that's the only job I have as a human being on this planet. And the repercussions of what happens after that is not my concern. Hate, fear, love, praise. Debbie Ford, one of my mentors and pioneering life coach, says, keep your praise and keep your criticism. They're both just projections onto me. So Laura, the way we handle that is that we don't look at projections as real. We only connect with our own truth. And as we connect with our own truth, we become stronger and stronger and stronger. If we look for validation outside of ourselves, we become weaker and weaker and more susceptible and more manipulatable. And that's how we're all manipulated by the food industries and the corporations that want to keep us small and want to keep us addicted to cooked foods and meats and chemicals in foods. So it is a process of standing up for our highest self. But all we have to do is know who we are and speak from that place. Develop your voice, speak your truth. That's why I do YouTube, because it allows me to develop my sense of who I am. YouTube is the best platform for developing a sense of who you are, because you have to face your fears, you have to face the haters, you have to face the impact of speaking your truth. And when you speak your truth, you're doing the only thing you were born to do. So you might as well get on YouTube. I encourage everybody to start a YouTube channel. I did 7 years ago, and developing a voice for myself has led to my purpose work, my soul purpose alignment, helping people, service work, and my income. I make over $500,000 a year in my coaching business. Not because I ever pursued money. I never did once. I only pursued service. I only pursued value. I wanted to provide value and support and accountability for others. And that's turned into an exceptional livelihood as well. Because I started a YouTube channel to develop my voice and to speak that truth that I was born with. And a raw vegan diet helps me do that. I don't care about food so much. I'm not a foodie. I'm a raw vegan because it's a tool that helps me be clear. And I can speak clear from a raw vegan diet. That's why I do it. Yeah. Yes?
Kind of a nerdy question, but like glycation, right? We're all cooking our body in our bodies right over time. That's kind of how our bodies break down. Is there any studies to show that raw veganism can slow down glycation?
Yeah, well, I always say, obviously a raw vegan diet is a very anti-aging diet. In fact, I just did a video I released on Thursday this week about the anti-aging effects of fruit sugar. That's how I put it, because that's a trigger word. People get all bent out of shape over fruit sugar.
Sugar, man.
Yep. But the point is that fruit is not only sugar, but it's water and fiber and enzymes and carbohydrates. I think sugar is actually an incorrect term, to be honest, because it's carbohydrate. There's carbohydrate, and it's either refined carbohydrate or whole food carbohydrate. It's either cooked carbohydrate or raw carbohydrate. I focus on raw, living carbohydrate only, which is fruit and vegetables. So we don't need processed carbohydrate, and we don't need starch-cooked carbohydrate. Our body does not thrive on that. So if we're talking about carbohydrate, it's an essential macronutrient for the human biology. It helps the human biology thrive in the highest level in every possible way. Cleansing the body, supporting the body, building muscle tissue, all of it comes from carbohydrate. So carbohydrate is what we're really talking about. And does carbohydrate contribute to glycation or premature aging in the body? Absolutely not. Raw, fresh, living foods, carbohydrates, water, fiber, and enzyme is the path to the fountain of youth and to looking and feeling your best well into old age. So that's the answer I give on that question. Yeah. Yes?
What do you do for your oral hygiene routine?
I floss every day, but I brush with baking soda. That's all I do, just baking soda, and then I rinse with hydrogen peroxide, and that's all I do, is those things. But I floss because the bacteria, the way to become dentally self-sufficient as fruit eaters is to, for one, transition the gut microbiome. You got to get the gut microbiome transition. But to become dentally self-sufficient, you need to understand the bacteria that live under your gums. That's it. It's a streptococcus bacteria, actually, that causes caries and cavities in the mouth. It's just the streptococcus bacteria that lives under your gums. That's it. If you understand that, you have full control over your mouth. And so get those bacteria down, knock them back. You know, do whatever it takes. Water picks. You know, alkalizing things to brush with. I mean, focus on it. You know, pick your teeth. Get those bacteria down. It's the only thing you need to know to complete dental self-sufficiency.
Non-pasteurized milk?
Non-pasteurized, yeah, no pasteurized milk.
So would you include non-pasteurized as part of the option?
There's living cultures is the way to go. Yeah, cultures and making fermented foods, avoiding pasteurization whenever possible. We obviously live in the world. We have to go to the grocery store. It's all pasteurized. Do your best. You know, that's what I say. Yes.
Hi, yes. Do you feel once the body is able to remove the blockages and you work down then the human body will be able to thrive and receive all minerals and nutrients through only some of the processes and
Yes, absolutely. This is the premise of what I teach and the foundation of the support I provide in my group coaching program, Raw Vegan Heroes, is helping people remove the plaque and the biofilm from their GI tract to improve absorption and utilization of food. Therefore, we can absorb more of the nutrition in raw foods better. Because most of the people, most of the time, cooked food eaters are going to have weak bowels, insufficient bowels, and poor absorption. 85% of the first world nations are nutrient deficient. 80%. Why is that? Biofilm in the GI tract. Our GI tract is not absorbing correctly. So how do we remedy that? Well, we got to clean out the bowels. We got to clean out the bowels of the fecal matter and the waste and the mucoid plaque that's in there. We've all got it. And if you don't think you have it, do a juice fast and see what comes out of you. It'll blow your mind. On my website, rawveganrising.com, you just can see the membership there, and you can join for $89 for an entire year of coaching with me and my team in our community of over 5,000 people, and you get a protocol as an instant download. There's also a 14-day meal plan. There's hundreds of hours of training videos included, action plans, guides, video courses, everything you possibly need to understand the first steps of being raw vegan successfully, which is cleansing the bowels, the first step.
No, I do ask because I've been on your only for over a year now, and I do advocate for once I did a 30-day fast, I hadn't seen as much like mucoid plaque and waste throughout the whole journey since, that fast.
It's amazing.
It was a great journey,
Yeah. I mean, that's a really common experience for people to maybe be on the fence about doing a juice fast. Maybe they've heard some negative things from people online or influencers who say juice fasting is not beneficial. However, when you do it, it changes your life. It changes your life. Yeah, if you're not eating food with fiber, how does waste come out? Because the body focuses on cleansing. When you stop digesting food, something miraculous happens. Our little sacred temple here focuses on elimination, which it's been trying to do for decades and decades and decades, and we keep inhibiting the natural function of our body with cooked foods, and it can't eliminate. And then it backs up and it grows to be a problem. By the time we're 20 or 30 or 40, now we have health problems. Now we're aging, now we're overweight, and we can't figure out why. It's because we're eating these foods that inhibit elimination. So doing a juice fast and taking out the fiber is an intervention protocol. It's not a diet, it's not a lifestyle, it's not ongoing. You don't have to do it forever. It's an intervention because we've been eating cooked food. And so it intervenes, instantly remedying, almost instantly, within 30 days, 40 days, decades and decades of plaque and biofilm accumulation in the body just by taking a break from digesting whole food or fiber, even raw vegan. If you're eating 100% raw vegan diet, you will not release mucoid plaque because the body can't focus on elimination. It's focusing on digesting food. So the fasting protocol is essential to remove the waste in the biofilm. And what's miraculous, I've worked with people who have juice fasted for 4 months. They're on 120 days, like this gentleman, over 100 days. And you will still release waste because the interstitial fluids in the body hold waste. So people who have stopped eating 4 months ago will still have bowel movements because the body's now able to extract waste and built up fecal matter in the interstitial fluids of our cells. And it extracts it out, and you will have small pellets coming out 4, 5, 6 months on a juice fast, which is miraculous. And it just shows how toxic our body is and how much accumulated waste there is in our body. And that's the path to a miracle healing. Healing our mind, body, and soul is eliminating all those toxins that are built up. So a juice fast is not a diet. Raw vegan is our diet. But juice fasting is a temporary intervention because we've gone far off track, and it just helps us get back on quicker. Yes?
Do you recommend that just initially, or do you like juice fast periodically?
It's a good question. One time is all you need. If you do a juice fast properly one time, you never have to do it again. You can just eat raw vegan. You want to cleanse the bowels of all the waste, the interstitial waste, the mucoid plaque, and the biofilm. And once that's out, if you eat raw vegan, then you don't need to do it again. But if you go back to your steak and potatoes diet, then yeah, you probably want to cleanse again. For me, I did a 40-day juice fast to start my raw vegan journey. I've never done another juice fast, and that's because I've been fully raw vegan. I don't need to do a juice fast because I eat raw vegan. That's what my body really needs to thrive. You don't thrive from a juice fast. It's an intervention to intervene from the problems we've created from cooked food. So you just do it one time, and then you eat raw vegan. And like I said to this gentleman, you break the fast with a 100% raw vegan diet, you will experience a shift in your microbiome in a way that's absolutely miraculous. It's life-changing to experience. And it shifts the neural association with where life force comes from. We think life force might come from a burger or a potato or like a stew or something. When you're on fresh juices for 30 days or 40 days, something miraculous happens in our perception. Is that, oh, I'm actually feeling better, I'm feeling more energy, I feel more alive, and I'm only having juices, which is just pure carbohydrate. You know, how is that possible? Wait, life force comes from the enzymes and the hydration and the micronutrients and the minerals in the juices. Life force, the true life force for our body is electrical, it's enzymatic. You know, so we're giving our body what we truly need with the raw juices, but then really it's all in raw foods. So when we experience that neural association shift, that can change our life in a profound way. Yes?
So one thing I looked into a couple times when it pertains to food is can you give your take on what Biophotons are? I find it like almost as elusive as the idea of calories.
Biophotons, yes. Well, biophotons can be measured with the Creatine photography, so you can just go online and look at it. It's a scientific measurement tool to, record the biophotons coming off of given item or foods. And you can look at the biophotons that come out of an apple, you can look at the biophotons that come out of a piece of meat, and you can see the levels of biophotons in raw living foods being much higher. So it's life force. Yeah, it's life force, it's light particles, biophotons. And that is the true nature of who we are. We are light beings after all. We are particles of light. We come from light, and when we ingest the raw living foods, we're taking in as much light energy, light knowledge, light codes as possible. The energy from the sun stored in the raw living foods is transferred to our body. So we're getting those packets of information from the raw living foods, packets of light information in raw foods. And that tells us who we really are, the divine nature of our life here on earth and the divine nature of our future. And that's why I'm focused on helping evolution 10,000 years from now. Who are we going to be? Well, if we aren't consuming the light codes of the sun information in foods, where are we going? That's a dark path. We've already been on a dark path. It's a survival strategy of the past. So the new earth paradigm is to shift the evolutionary paradigm awareness away from survival mode. That's what a raw vegan diet does, everybody. Shift away from survival mode to thriving, higher cognitive function, spiritual awareness, alignment of soul and mind and body, so you can do the work you truly came here to do, to be of service and to make the biggest difference on planet Earth for us today our children, our children's children, and thousands of years of evolution of the human species into the future. Because we're all responsible for that, whether we realize it or not. How we live today affects who lives 10,000 years from now. And I'm aware of that, and I dedicate every day of my life to that. Yes?
This question may seem like it's coming from like a centralized medicine food perspective, so apologies if it sounds ignorant. What is your primary source of protein, and how many grams a day do you consume?
Yes, I shoot for about 15% of my total calorie intake from protein, which would be considered, on the lower or moderate side compared to the modern fitness narrative that we're supposed to eat 1 kilogram per 8.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, which is an insane amount of protein. Too much for the average person. Creates kidney problems and creates ammonia buildup in the body, creating body odor and bad breath. So this high protein narrative in our mainstream fitness, especially fitness, is just incorrect. It's dangerous. It's a toxic amount of protein, especially from animals. So we get our protein from the building blocks of protein, which are amino acids. All food has amino acids, and amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. I just did a video that I released today on YouTube called The 5 Best Raw Vegan Protein Sources. And I do extensive training on how to get protein as a raw vegan and how to thrive understanding and busting the protein myth that we need to eat complex structures of protein to have protein. We actually do better with simple structures of amino acids. So greens is a great source of proteins, and you wouldn't think if you just look at greens in a calorie tracking app, a macro tracking app, it seems low in protein. However, it's the highest quality of protein for the human biology because it's alkaline, and it will allow your body to take those building blocks and put it where it needs to, in tissues, into muscle mass, without the metabolic waste and the residue of animal products. Animal products have a serious burden and a serious drawback, which is metabolic residue, the acid residue. It's not worth it. I've been an alkaline vegan for 34 years, and I just, I'm someone who just believes it's not worth it at all to take a bite of animal products ever for any reason. Yeah, definitely not worth it. Anybody else? Questions? All right. Okay, one more. We got one more.
Okay, so this is kind of a two-part question. The first is just asking whether you recognize the idea as fact that different food can benefit and the nutrients that you can find as bioavailable can benefit from different preparations. And if you recognize that as fact, what would your take be on the best kind of balance of fresh raw to fermented to sprouted, etc., different types of foods?
I think that the nutrition available in raw foods is really optimal because that's how it's created by the universe, by God, whatever you want to call it. We can't improve on the structure of nature's divine perfection for us. However, humans have gotten into a really arrogant perspective that we can improve by denaturing the food and cooking it and altering it on a molecular level, but that just causes problems for us. So I think that the best source of nutrition and the best balance of nutrition is just fresh, raw, living foods. Sprouts, of course, have the highest enzymatic potential, which is, I think, the most important key there, which is enzymatic potential. The enzymes in the food, the more enzymes in the food, the better off it's going to be for us, because enzymes drive every metabolic function of our body. From detoxification, bringing nutrients through the microcapillaries of our blood to the cells, to the skin, everything is driven by enzymes. So we need enzymatically rich foods. Denaturing our foods through fermentation is fine a little bit. It's still enzymatically very, very rich, and that's what I focus on is enzymatic rich foods. So fermentation is A-okay in my book, and I think that between sprouting and fermenting and culturing foods and fresh raw living foods, that's the entire spectrum. Perfect for the human biology. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you for attending.
One more time for Shane Sterling, everybody. Shane Sterling, there he goes.